I could go off forever talking about this stuff. I am Blockhead, and I make free art. Free art is when people make something, some piece of art, and then hide it for others to find. In Atlanta, people usually post a picture online with a clue or a hint, and then people then go hunt for it. I first got into free art. I had heard of Everyman. I'd seen pictures of some Catlanas and things, and I hadn't really heard about the whole scene as much as I heard about these individual artists. And so I started hunting for their pieces and then thought, this is really fun. I should make something and just get into doing this because it's so much fun. And it took me a really long time to come up with something to make because I had a photo background, I was working in video, and I wanted to use those things, but cost-wise, it was just too much money. So a really long time of thinking and thinking and thinking, and I eventually had the idea of carving a square-headed figure, and then it all took off from there. I think it helps people connect in another way. I mean, art is fairly therapeutic, and sitting down, being creative, making something just because you're not trying to sell it, you're not trying to market it, you're just making a thing and putting it out into the world, and then you're leaving it. And it's this really pure form of art. And I think that's a huge attraction for a lot of people.
I'm Sad Stove, and I make free art. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were drinking a few beers, and he told me about the free art movement, and I asked him more about it. What is it? What are people doing? Well, people make things, and they put them out, and people find them, and it's theirs to keep. And I said, well, that's a very generous thing to do, you know, and I always wanted to give back to the city that I love so much, and I decided that I would make things and put things out for people to find to kind of like brighten their day or give them something fun to do, something else to do in Atlanta. I like for Sad Stove to be considered just this poor little stove, you know. I don't want anyone to think of an actual person, even though I know that people will think of a person making this, but I would like to keep my identity out of it so that the focus is just the art, the focus is just the stove, or however the stove is adapted to other different forms of media. For me, making something so sad constantly and seeing how happy it makes people, that kind of makes me want to keep doing it, makes me want to keep putting things out. It allows me to challenge myself to be creative, to keep making things in a different way, or as I normally wouldn't challenge myself. But it becomes a challenge, and it becomes a reward when you see how excited people are to get your art. I feel like it's a great way for people to meet. I feel like it's a great way for other artists to become inspired, and it's fun.
I'm a Thulu, and I make free art. I think in terms of free art, I mean, I think Atlanta is a huge point on the map for this, right? I mean, the free art community in Atlanta is incredible, and I think it's one of the most active in the United States, maybe even the world. It's been going on for so long, and you've got so many artists, and so many people are involved, and the city is aware of it and fully supporting. I love the idea of free art, just like a lot of street art, like graffiti or whatever, that it rewards people in the environment for paying attention. I think oftentimes when we live in a big urban, developed environment, you just kind of tune out all your surroundings. You walk down the same sidewalk every day to go to work. You go around the same corner a million times. You just have flat gray buildings and there's nothing there. But when you can kind of hide these pieces of art there, the person who is gazing at the sidewalk all of a sudden notices a blast of color, and they reconnect with their environment. And I think that's really, really important. I give advice to some people who are kind of on the cusp thinking about man, can I do this? I'm not an artist. I'm it's okay. Fake it until you make it, man. I think there is an art in the making of the thing, right? The art is that you're doing it. That you're a person who might be, a lawyer, or you might be a person who sells cars, or you might be a dog trainer or whatever, that's your day life. And here you're shifting gears and you're actually putting your energy, your creative energy into a thing. And the act of creation, I think, is pretty artistic in and of itself.